everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of the What Bird Are You podcast. I'm Suzy.
And I'm Sam. In this episode, we're introducing why we're talking about sex in a podcast. Without further ado, let's roll.
Yeah, right there. I love it when you run it up between my legs. Yeah, love it. Thank you. Dear Sam, yes.
Dear Suzy, where?
Dear Sam, when?
This is the What Bird Are You podcast.
This is our podcast celebrating sex.
Safe sex.
Consensual sex.
Sex without shame or guilt.
The kind of sex you discover when you become your first best lover.
We'll be talking about our own sexual experiences and bringing other people's voices into the dialogue.
And we will be reviewing sex toys.
We're people who simply enjoy sex.
So, if you are not an adult or unwilling to be part of a frank conversation about sex, this is not for you.
If you're under 18, do you really want to hear people your parents' age talking about sex? Welcome to the show. There are a lot of podcasts out there talking about sex, people who just really like sharing their stories about sex. And I've been listening to a lot of them. My curiosity has been piqued. I think we're going to talk about something a little different, really emphasizing on the safe and consensual, the honest type of sex. That it doesn't have to be monogamy, it doesn't have to be polyamory, it doesn't have to be any of these little categories other than safe and consensual.
Well, I've been listening to a lot of these podcasts as well, and I really enjoy them. I've heard a lot of different personalities and a lot of different life experiences. But what I don't feel like I often hear is just the voice of the everyday man and woman. And I'm often left with a lot of questions. I'm new to a lot of this. I mean, I'm not new to sex, but I'm new to more experimental sex, more kinky sex. And you've really brought a lot of that out in me, which I really enjoy. I think I'd like to really bring that voice, and I have a lot of questions. I'm not an expert in any way, but I'm looking forward to diving into this more.
I'm in my late 40s. I've been married for over 16 years, been divorced now for almost 5, and since I've been divorced, I've really learned how to be a better lover. You become a better lover, like I say, when you become your first best lover. And so I've just been on this really great experiment, meeting new and wonderful people in new places. I've met really dear loves of my life. And as I travel throughout the country, I am on dating apps. Not necessarily to date, sometimes yes, sometimes no, but to really broaden my perspective and learn new things about people.
Well, I'm in my early 40s, and I've been married and divorced and dated and had long-term relationships. I'm a mother as well, so that's a voice I really would like to bring into it all. I think, meeting you has been great. You and I met through a dating app.
Yes.
You've opened my eyes to a lot of things just in the period of time that I've known you.
Let's talk about a few of these really important words that we have in our introduction: safety, consensual sex, and honest sex. What is consensual sex?
Consensual sex is making sure that you are comfortable with the situation and that you are completely ready to jump into this, but also that your partner is as well. And not just that they're saying yes, but they're actually in meaning yes, and that they're actually in a clear enough state of mind to be able to make that decision.
I agree with that as well. Consensual is the key for any sexual experience that we're going to have or that we're going to talk about on this show. No matter if you're in bounds or in a cage, in bounds, if you're bond straps or whatever.
You're bound.
If you're bound. Bound. I'm not comfortable with that word, bound.
Well, you can bind me up anytime you want to.
Ooh. Now I'm getting excited. So, yeah, it doesn't matter if you're bound or if you're freewheeling. If you're not completely okay with this circumstance, it's not consensual. So we're going to be celebrating consensual sex no matter what. And safe sex. What's safe sex, Suzy?
So safe sex is clearly using condoms, using protection, protecting yourself physically from any, STDs, unwanted pregnancy, things like that. But it's also a safety of environment. And as we talk about different kinks and different situations, that talk about safety changes a bit.
It does. Safety in the physical and safety in the mental.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people who feel that they need to have sex, and sex is, as George Michael said, something that's good, and we should all be doing it. But I don't think it should ever feel compulsory. really listening to yourself and listening to what your partner or partners are hoping for. Safety also means code, words, yes, no, what that might mean, and really listening to yourself. Is it time to say no? And listen to your partner. Are they saying no?
And then also, I just want to bring this in. I think it's important for us to all be really clear on what our no's are. So I know before I met you, I had not really taken the time to really become extremely clear in what my no's are. And it's been very freeing since doing so to be able to express that verbally to you and to other lovers as well.
For me, sex is an adventure. And you don't really partake on an adventure unless you have some plans and you have some ideas and you have some perspectives. Of course, those will change as you're going. So what might be a hard no now, for example, you don't like cum on your face.
Yeah, I do not.
In a circumstance, it may evolve. But if you present like that, like you have with me, you presented that, and we could work with that. And if your lover really wants to do that, I'm sure you'll be able to communicate with that in the circumstance, but presenting what is your hard no is going to be what's keeping you safe.
That's right. And I think also for me to know what maybe are not such hard no's. Like another hard no I had when I first met you is do not touch my feet. It was a super hard no for me. But then you made me realize that maybe it's not so bad for you to touch my feet.
Through practice, through communication, through looking at each other in the eyes, and now you have another project about feet coming. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
And honesty. Radical honesty, regardless of what it might be, is knowing who you are as your first best lover. And it's amazing how many people lie to themselves and lie to their lovers. What is honesty for you, at least in the sexual sphere?
Honesty is just being open enough to be able to talk to your partner about who you are, what you like, what you don't like, and actually be able to trust that they're telling you the truth. So it's honesty on your own part for who you are, but also on your partner's part for who they are, what their life is like, what they're looking for. It's important and it's tricky. I think there's a lot of issues that fall into place around honesty in relationships.
And honesty is difficult in person. Honesty is even more difficult in social media. Mm-hmm. And I think dating apps are a part of the social media. When we met, I tried to be as honest as I could be with you. I think you appreciated that. Hopefully it was. I think in the dating apps, women, I hear this a lot, women experience guys who say they're getting a divorce, at least in this age group that we're in our 40s. The people I meet tend to be 45 to 55. They're now divorced. The women are now divorced. They're empty nesters. They're looking for another chapter in their life. And they're finding men who say, well, I'm getting a divorce. Often they're not. And so what I advise people is like, ask, does your wife know that you're getting a divorce?
Well, when I did meet you, you were the most honest man you were most honest in your presentation of who you were, what you were looking for, what your intentions were, and your life situation as well. You didn't live where I lived. You were very clear about saying, hey, I'm passing through. And it was very freeing for me to have someone lay it out on the table like that. And it did take me by surprise because I've never had anyone be that honest with me. I've never had a man be that honest with me. And it was refreshing.
Unfortunately, I'm not looking for a relationship necessarily. Mm-hmm. I have relationships. I have people who are close to me in my life. And that allows me to really focus on that element of I'm looking for new friends and new perspectives.
Right.
I'm looking to have my perspectives change, my mind change. Change my mind is a motto of mine. So not having that stress of looking to be in a relationship, looking to play house, it allows me to say, this is what I want, this is who I am, this is this is what I celebrate, and I celebrate a lot of yes to adventure. Step out of your comfort zone, take risks while staying safe and managing that. And when you're managing those risks, all of a sudden you're having fun. And if it leads to a sexual experience, well, damn. We're having fun now.
Yeah, I loved your honesty. You were just like, you know what? I love to make women orgasm, and I would love the opportunity to make you orgasm. And I was just like, well, how do I say no to that? Okay.
And that, I think, leads right to the next chapter in this first episode, partner play. Mm. Sex for me, for a lot of my life, was come and go. Like, I have a hard-on, I need to have sex, I'm horny. And then I have sex, I come, and then I go. Oh, yeah, was there a partner involved in that?
It's so terrible.
It is terrible. I admit it.
I think it's common, though.
Yes.
You're not alone.
I never even thought about the idea of toys for partner play. I never even associated sex as a partner play. It was just like getting it on.
It was you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were focused on yourself. And I think that's very common. I think we have to learn an alternative way, but there's so much more that can be unlocked when you do realize that when you really come together with your partner. I had never really played with toys with another partner before either, and it's been pretty amazing. I'm completely sold on it.
So partner play with toys is what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Partner play with toys means you don't have to rely on the anatomy to prolong your sexual experience. Partner play means you might have a vibrator. If you're a woman, you might have a vibrator. It's probably buried in a drawer somewhere without batteries.
Right.
So the idea of like, okay, I'm going to use this toy and it's shaped this way. I'm going to use that toy and it's shaped that way. It's wide. It's narrow. This one vibrates. This one's steel. This one is a different material altogether. This is remote control. All of a sudden you have all of these toys for different experiences. Tools, as you've called it.
Yeah. You wouldn't show up to like fix something without your tool bag, right? So coming into a sexual playtime without having toys or tools, really, you're going to have a good time regardless probably, but it does take it to the next level.
Do you have experience of guys who are just about their hard-on and please you just with that hard-on and maybe fingers and tongues and whatnot, but do you not have a history of lovers that use toys? You said not really.
No, I really don't. It's been just, just basic penetration, really. I mean, of course, there's foreplay, there's, oral and other types of play, but not with toys. And what I've realized with our play with toys is it just can keep it going and going and going, which is so great. So even if you and I make love and if you come and if you're, not ready for round 2 yet, you can bring your toys out and keep me going for a lot longer.
Was it intimidating when you saw my bag of tricks?
No, I was so excited. I was like, oh, yes, I want all of that. It wasn't intimidating to me. Of course, you blindfolded me the first time. I know, which I didn't realize I loved so much. So
it was consensual. We were guiding through this. Mm-hmm. Though I took your eyes away, hopefully I gave you more senses to the experience.
Well, you and I had already built up a trust. So I did already feel like I could definitely trust you, and I trusted your judgment. I wouldn't have done that if I didn't trust you. So, yeah, and we played with all kinds of toys, but I couldn't see what was going on, and I loved every second of it. So after that, when I saw your toy bag, I realized what I had in store, and it was really exciting.
And then you charged the batteries for the toys that you had, and okay, let's see if we can incorporate those. You've gotten some more.
Yeah, I was about to say, then I realized how sad my toy collection was just as a single female. So I've probably doubled the size of my toy collection since knowing you.
You have made a comment that I find really interesting. Like the same toys that we partner play with, you love.
Yeah.
We have a fascinating, wonderful experience with. But then you use those same toys by yourself, and it's almost depressing.
It is.
A letdown.
Sometimes it makes me feel really lonely, which is surprising. You travel, you're not around all the time. And so when we do come together, it's great. But a lot of those toys I try to play, I do play with on my own. And I just find that my intensity level with being turned on is different. And so that some of those toys are not as fun unless I definitely enjoy them way more with a partner. But I do think it has to do with my level of being turned on.
As you move through your journey of sexual exploration experiences, how are you going to try to convince your partners that they should be using toys? Should they be using toys?
I cannot imagine going back to a sexual love life with any partner that doesn't involve toy play, because I've found so much joy and pleasure in this. So it really will have to be me introducing them. And I know some men see it as, I am not enough to please you. And that's not the case at all. It's not that you're not enough to please me. It's that we can experience so much more than this. Yes, you please me perfectly well. It's lovely and wonderful. And so it'll probably differ. It'll probably be different with each partner, but it will be something that I will be introducing in every way possible until I convince them to use all these toys on me.
As the episodes build in our library, we're going to review toys. There are going to be floggers. There are going to be paddles. There are going to be vibrators. There are going to be dildos. So far, what have you liked the best and why?
Well, so that's interesting because it's changed. So there's been some toys that we've used and I've just thought it was the best thing ever, and I thought, this is it. This is the best toy in the world. And then pretty quickly, sometimes within like a week or less, recently, I'm like done with that toy, and I'm okay with not seeing it again. And there's new toys that we have experience with. So what I love lately is different types of toys, right? So it's building up this sexual tension. It's building up this sexual momentum with different types of toys. And it's always different, which I love. So that's one thing that toy play, partner play really does. It makes the experience different every time, even though we're playing with the same 2 or 3 dozen toys.
We don't have that many.
Sorry. That may be a bit much, but
we have more than that, right?
Yeah. It does. It just allows it to always be different. So when you talk about really a play session, this really can allow each one of your different play sessions to be different, take you to different heights. And I love that.
Place is an important thing for building a mood, obviously. How many people have sex where they don't sleep, where they live, where they experience things? In an ideal world, I would live in a place, a studio, where the sex bed is a center piece of furniture.
I think, honestly, in your ideal world, you would have an entire floor that was all set up as like a sex playroom or dungeon.
Yeah.
That's what I think you'd probably really like. I think it's nice switching it up sometimes, but for me personally, I need to be able to be as loud as I want or as free as I want or as, have as much space as I want. And I find that I'm more open, but that's not to say you can't have fun having sex in places where maybe you shouldn't.
Mm.
I mean, really, you could have sex almost. We've had sex in a lot of different places, and I've enjoyed all of them. But I do find that I enjoy sex better when I don't have to edit or filter myself.
And the reason why I bring this up, like the place where you're at, the place also creates an inspiration, creates a spark. It shows dedication. It shows that you're purpose driven. And I think sexual experience that's purpose driven is a great experience. What I do like about having sex in a bed is after care, and that's a huge part of partner play is aftercare.
Sometimes, when I have a partner that's using a toy on me, I'm missing that skin-to-skin contact. And recently I've been really dialing into realizing that that's important to me, and I do miss that. So the past few times that we've had toy play, you really went out of your way to have that skin-to-skin contact while we were still utilizing toys. And I was having amazing orgasms, but I still felt like you were so close to me. I didn't feel disconnected in any way. And I could see some people feeling like toy play with partners would be a little disconnected. It's different than penetration, right?
I've had women say, I just want a hard cock. I don't want all
Right.
that toy stuff. It's the skin on skin. That's the critical part. And some people probably associate toys with an alienation from that.
I agreed completely. And a lack of intimacy. Even though, yes, maybe you're just getting fucked with this toy, it can be extremely intimate and still extremely just lovely and close with your partner.
And I'm really going to emphasize this idea that partner play is a form of exploration. Men out there, use toys. Go to an adult novelty store, look online, and find some toys and start experimenting with them. But more than that, partner play is that contact with your partner. They feel safe. You feel titillated. You have consent. You have safety. And you have this prolonged time with each other.
So I'm curious to ask you as a man, what do you like about utilizing toys? Because I think a lot of men are intimidated or for whatever reason don't feel like that's something that's good for partner play. What makes that something that you delved into?
Well, that's a great question, and I'm thinking about the answers, and a couple of them are pretty simple and straightforward. I'm a man in my 40s. sometimes it's not up. Sometimes I can't get horny, but I still want to have a sexual experience. So having a toy and being well versed in how to use that toy, all right, I don't have to worry about that. Or when I'm traveling, and I want to have a sexual experience, I really like the idea of participating in a female orgasm, but maybe we don't have the relationship built for a true sexual penetrative thing, but how about a little vibrator and a little playtime? And so those are two really important elements. I don't have to have my cock out to be a part of this. Of course, when it is full sex, that includes penetrative sex with our genitalia, that's great, absolutely. And it's even better if you can incorporate really fun toys.
I love that. And I think I would just love to hear more men have that conversation with each other. It does seem like it really does open up so many opportunities. And like you said, if you're traveling, you're like, oh, I'm not quite sure where this is going. Let's start with a toy. I know even with us, I've had experiences where we started with toys and I'm like, I'm not really feeling super sexy. Sure, we'll try that toy. And then it builds up this just really beautiful sexuality between us so that within, not too long, I'm ready for anything and everything. So I love that. And
with you in particular, there's a third element to why I use toys. You have an endurance.
I do.
That it doesn't matter about what I'm doing. It's like, okay, we're going to keep up and keep on going with this. And a few different toys really allow you to go one step further and then keep on going for another step further. So
I love that because it does allow us to just go. And I think you actually really enjoy seeing how far you can push me and in the most beautiful, consensual, perfect way, And I think you enjoy watching that process.
I love it.
Yeah, and toys, I think, really allow that to happen. And that's why I'm so excited to be able to do toy reviews in our podcast and to be able to talk about partner play, because this is a big part of why I wanted to do the podcast. I feel like it's so important. If more people could get into this and see this, I think it could improve a lot of sex lives.
Suzy, we did it. We recorded our first podcast together.
I'm super excited. It felt great.
And I'm already looking forward to our next episode where we're going to Florida. We're going to a secret location, hint, hint, that has a clothing optional swimming pool area. It has a dungeon.
Yes, I cannot wait. I'm a little nervous, but I cannot wait. I'm sure we'll have some good stories to tell.
As these episodes develop, we're going to be reviewing toys and really emphasizing the value of partner play with those toys. So also look forward to, in that next episode, Flogger.
Yes.
In the notes of this podcast, look where you can find us. We're going to have a lot of platforms to talk about safe, consensual sex. We might even have a paywall channel where we get a little bit more intimate with the content we share. Until then, we'll see you guys later.
Can we go play now?
Please.
Okay.